Hi, welcome. A few weeks ago, we talked about step number 1 for co parenting with the universe. Today, we're going to talk about step number 2. Step number 2 is something that many of us may be losing a lot of our precious inner resources on, our precious energy, our precious thoughts. And this is learning what is your zone of power and your zone of powerlessness, and relinquishing the trying to control your zone of powerlessness. Let me explain. When my teenagers were out of control in a way that was potentially dangerous to their life or health, I spiraled into anxiety and exhaustion, really, and even depression, because and I apologize for the noise, there is a lot of construction here, because I was trying to control something that was not mine to control. I was investing all my energy, attention, and inner resources into my zone of powerlessness, which is I do not have the power to make something that they may have chosen before their incarnation. For example, if I was to lose a kid, if that was something that they chose and that my soul chose, I could not control that. I could not change that as a human being. It was completely a task for my higher power, for the universe, for God, for source, whatever your term is for your higher power. And I was spinning my wheels, trying to control every little detail of where they were going, who they were seeing, because you cannot chain your teenager to their bed, so they are going out, they are doing stuff, and you cannot control everything. So after a lot of suffering, and that's what I'm trying to prevent for you, all that suffering, all that exhaustion, all that spiraling downward, after a lot of that, I came to the conclusion that it was not in my power. And I decided to relinquish that to my higher power. I even did a ceremony where I wrote it on a piece of paper and I burnt it, and I affirmed that I am giving that to you for your management. This is not mine. And then I focused where I had power, which was my behavior, my state of mind, my attention, my vibration, where I was investing my resources, and what vision I had in mind. Because before I had a vision of horror, a vision of suffering. Now I chose to go somewhere else and create a new vision for myself. So that's one aspect. Now, you may not be there. It may not be as dramatic for you, and I hope not for you. And it may just be a question of you spinning your wheels, trying to have your teenager do whatever you want them to do, or to speak to you in a way that is more respectful, maybe to listen to you. And as you know, our reality, our outside world, is a reflection of our inside world. And today I'm going to give you an exercise. Actually, I gave you one before to determine your zone of powerlessness and your zone of power and relinquish what is not yours. If that doesn't really resonate with you, even though it is the case for everything in our life, that's exercise number 2. When you see something in your relationship with your teenager, in your outside reality, that is not as you would like to see, what you would like to see, go inward. And in that case, if we're talking about the way they relate to you, the way they listen to you or not, how well are you listening to yourself? Are you disrespecting yourself in any way in your life? And that may take many forms. It may be, in that case, to put on yourself a burden of trying to control and manage something that is not yours. What is not yours? Their behavior. It's theirs. That could be you don't respect yourself by creating a story in your mind of, and I said that many times, and I say to many moms, do not assume that you know what their intention is when they're doing something or when they're interacting to you. Don't put a bad intention like they don't care about what I'm saying, they want to make me mad on purpose, etc., etc. Remove that story. Try to come to a clean canvas. You do not know what their intention is, and frankly, it doesn't even matter. What matters is where you have control. What matters is how you can honor who you are. And this is your inner world. What story are you telling yourself? How respectful are you to yourself? And it can take the form of how much sleep do you get? What do you eat? Who do you tolerate in your life that maybe not doesn't belong anymore? What do you read? What do you expose yourself to? I know we are exposed to many difficult things in the world, but we don't have to overexpose ourselves. Yes, we want to be aware, but we don't have to be stuck 24/7 on the news, for example. How do you take care of your skin? Many aspects, as I said. And how do you interact with yourself? Do you respect yourself? Or do you have a negative self-talk regarding how you look, who you are, what you want to accomplish and that you haven't, what you have quote unquote failed on? And you see that under the light of failure only instead of seeing the lesson that was there. Really sit down and put on paper everything that crosses your mind about the way you disrespect yourself. Because at the end of the day, we're a magnificent energy being, a magnificent soul, a piece of the divine. And we have a lot of power, but not in the way that you may be trying to express that. Remember, the highest force of all is love. So I'm not talking about accepting anything that shouldn't be happening, but I'm talking about choosing love instead of choosing turmoil and chaos in your head. I'm talking about choosing love regarding yourself and choosing to look at your teenager in a loving way. And sometimes I know it's difficult if they don't respect you, or you perceive that they don't respect you. But remember them as babies. Remember that they too are a soul and that they came in your life for a divine purpose. And we'll talk about that in a future video, because this is really life-changing to look at your parenting from a different angle, from a spiritual angle. And in fact, all your relationships. I know it has helped many of my clients and myself to start going up a level and looking at it in a different way. But that's for another day. For today, how do you relate to yourself? Is it somehow reflected in your relationship with your teenager outside? And do you honor yourself or not? Put it on a piece of paper and start changing a few things. Add more respect, especially with the inner dialogues, especially with stuff that are easy to change. And infuse love. Love for yourself, love for them, love for your life. Start looking at the blessings. Start practicing gratitude, which is also on a very high vibration. Start visualizing and vibrating at a higher level. I know it will help, because it always does, to go up with our vibration and our inner world. And I welcome your feedback. What did you find? If you are courageous enough to share with us What would you like to change in the way you're parenting to focus on your zone of power, in the way you're relating for yourself, or even what are you practicing already that is self-love, self-honoring, self-respecting, etc. And if you find that this video has value, please give it a thumb up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. I have many other things that I can share with you to help you parent with more ease and more peace, and really co-parent with the universe to be at a higher vibration so you can receive the message. And if you know someone who could benefit from this video, please share it with them, because my goal is that no mom would struggle alone. You don't need to. I'm sending you much love. Thank you for being with me today and watching this video, and I will see you in another video.